So you must decide though. We develop the vision and then you must decide, I'm doing this. I'm taking the steps. I'm going to work in that direction consistently. So Ralph Waldo Emerson, once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. When you're claiming what you're looking for and you're deciding, I'm going to talk about, you can decide, and then you got to get into action. That's the other piece, but decide, things start aligning. So this is what happens. We make the decision just so you understand how we're going to navigate when obstacles come up. Almost immediately, we make a decision. What did I share earlier? The brain starts going on alarm, like, uh-oh, especially as adults. What if I fail? I'm deciding I'm going for this. I'm looking at this position, and what if I fail? The alarms go off. Now, oftentimes this can be where people are thrown off. Fear of failure, just fear in general. I don't know if I have the skills for interviewing for this job, and all of that can clutter the mindset, and it can actually, like a crabs in a crab pot, they want to pull you down if you're trying to get out. The voices come. I want you to think for a moment, what voice comes to mind when you're trying to try something new? Do you have a consistent voice that's going on? Like, who do you think you are? For me, I was making a career shift midlife. And I thought the other position that I was in was something that I was going to do forever. And I had a big team, but I was listening to that voice that was saying there's more. And I stepped in. I learned how to override the fear. I don't know how, but I listened to that voice. Actually, I said, I'm not willing to continue saying to myself, I'm dying inside. So I wanted to change that voice to say, I love what I'm doing. I'm growing. So this is what we do. This is a system that you can use to keep you on track so you don't get thrown off and derailed. So many people going for New Year's goals get thrown off really quickly because they weren't really clear on where they were going. That's one reason. And then they didn't decide. They didn't completely step over the line. Decide in Latin means to cut away everything that doesn't match. They didn't step over the line. So they got thrown off. So when this fear and all those voices start coming up, you're going to literally, I want you to memorize this pause button. Think in your mind, pause. All right. With all the voices going on. And then you're going to take that deep breath. I talked about, this is called safety breathing, and it's going to serve you well. You breathe in on the count of 4 through the nose, hold, and then you exhale, blowing out through the mouth. If you want to do that a couple of times while I continue speaking. What happens is you're calming the nervous system. One of my energy medicine mentors talks about that, calms the nervous system, and it also makes those voices calm down. And then you're going to acknowledge, okay, this is the fear, like this has come up, this is the obstacle, it's in front of me right now. And I'm actually going to say, you want to look at it as good news. It came up. That thing that wasn't serving you, the things that are, aren't serving in where you're going, they're up for a reason, so you can repattern them. But we don't want them to clutter and override what's happening. So we set them aside physically. I want you to literally set it aside. So you get that pause button, you get a breath. I see you, good news. That means I'm changing. That means I'm growing. And I always say to people, if you're not feeling fear or failure, you're in your comfort zone. We want to be pushing and growing, but we don't want to get held up by fear. We don't want to get trapped. And so many of us do. Set it aside. And then you can say, up until now, you were in my way. Up until now, I've been holding on to all that story from my last job that I wasn't capable. My boss was, letting me know I'm not, I don't have what it takes. And up until now, I was letting that kind of continue in my mindset. But right now, no, I'm setting it aside and I'm focusing back. This is why you need to know where you're going in this job search, what it is specifically that you want. I'm going to focus back on where I want to go. And in that moment, you need to take an action step. And it might be simply, I'm going to go on and go to LinkedIn and kind of look at, potential opportunities or how I can up-level my profile that's going to serve me better. Something in that moment, because what you're doing is retraining the brain that, no, I'm not going to get stuck in the fear. I'm in action and I'm going forward. You're regrooving that neural pathway to success. You're in that higher level kind of mindset, right? So this is a key kind of simple formula to keep you on track. Because if we get off track and we stay, and this can happen for days, weeks, months, we get stuck in the fear, like, I don't have this, or the dissuasion, or all of that, you're not going to be able to move forward. So we need to be able to override the brain and work with it. And so I broke it down a little bit more and used the amygdala, another piece of the brain here. But so you want to learn from moving from that survival mode, panic kind of thing, to higher thinking. Go to the CEO. We deactivate that emotional part of our brain. It happens to be called the amygdala. We want to let it know everything's okay. So we're learning to put on the mental brakes and respond instead of react. And one way of doing this is actually labeling your emotions and normalizing the feelings. When you understand that everybody has fear in this process, everybody has that. It's just they've learned, if you're looking at someone who's where you want to be, they've just learned how to navigate it. There's not anyone that's not experiencing fear unless they're not, stretching. So you want to decrease the brain's alarm system so you can let the creative, right? I talked about that earlier, the creative CEO part of your brain help you and assist you. So you're building that mindset of, I've got this and I know how to stay on track. And just this last piece down here, we all hear about mindfulness and how important that is, being in the present moment, anchoring yourself and appreciating where you are, relaxing the mind. Through mindfulness, direct our thoughts to that higher place where creativity comes. So I'm going to pause for a moment along these lines. So when you continue working on your vision and paying attention to what it is that you would love, you want to be in a relaxed state. You want to, so that the brain can step into creativity. It's important to just be in that relaxed state for yourself.